Okay, this is Virtua Fighter on the Sega 32X. And it's really the second in a run of videos that I want to do on this machine because I've had it quite a while and I've only done one video on a gameplay, and that was, well, not really the proper gameplay, it was just the Mythbusters on the secret track on Virtua Racing Deluxe. So I thought I'd look at this, which is a really nice port. I'm not sure if it comes across on the video, but there's no graphical glitching or any of the problems that plague the Saturn version, because the Saturn Virtua Fighter original game was a launch game, and I think it was probably a launch game in Japan as well. Well, it was certainly a launch game in the UK. But the Saturn, if you believe the legend, was rushed and it had the extra VDP chip and blah blah blah. And the idea was that Virtua Fighter was developed at the same time and it wasn't really finished. And I'd love really to, almost as an aside, I'd really love to see if a book ever gets published about Sega and how they, were developing in the mid-90s, because I'm sure the politics were quite fascinating. There was a Commodore book that came out a few years ago and it did a similar thing, and you realise why Commodore did what they did. But anyway, that's an aside. This is a really good game. I'm doing quite well. I am recording this live, although I don't think I'll be doing very well for very long. No, why did I say it? Oh, I didn't even get hit, and why did I have to say that? But all the moves are here from the arcade version and from the Saturn version. And I think with fighting games I tend to always stick with one style of character, so I always play the Ryu types, even though Akira doesn't really play anywhere or anything like Ryu. God. I'm trying to remember some of the moves because I'm probably most familiar with, got to get this right now, it's Virtua Fighter 3 from the Dreamcast, but a lot of their moves got backported to Fighters Megamix on the Saturn, and that's the one that I'm most familiar with. I played Virtua Fighter 2 quite a bit, but I'm used to the extra moves, so I'm trying to remember what does and doesn't work on this, because they added lots of really weird combos. But you can see on this all the motion capturing is all there, and no glitching on the characters or even the ring. I think the polygon count's probably lower than the Saturn game, but that doesn't really diminish it in any way. I'm still using the 3-button pad from the last video, but I don't think I'm at a disadvantage with that, because you've only really got punch, kick, block, and then the rest are just combos. Got you. I used to be really good at Virtua Fighter. I'm way out of practice. I've yet to play Virtua Fighter 4 or even 5. I think there's a few versions of 4 and there's probably a few versions of 5 as well on the PS2 and the 360. Waffling. Yes. It does make you wonder if this game had come out on the SVP, whether it would have been, well, the SVP, you will be familiar with, was the Super FX-like chip that was used in the Mega Drive for Virtua Racing, and Sega decided not to keep releasing those games at £70, but instead release an add-on, and they made it more powerful and released these games. But I do wonder if this would have looked as good on the Mega Drive. It's a real shame, we'll never know. But I think Sega made a bit of a mistake with the 32X. It was too powerful. I think they either should have waited for the Saturn. Again, there's probably company politics, probably competing teams. They should have either just released the SVP as a little, remember the Game Genie cartridges, just the little pass-through cartridges, or had a little slot at the top where you could plug it into the cartridge, almost like the trying to think what it's called, the Super Game Boy, you know, where you can plug your Game Boy games in there. Almost like you have your Virtua Racing, Virtua Fighter, and you slot in the SVP chip, almost like a, you know, compact flash card. That might have worked, but I think them releasing it for the price that it was, you know, 150 quid, it wasn't really worth it. And I do wonder if Sega had just gone the route of having this little plug-in card, whether, you know, and, you know, give it away free, or just a few pounds more like they did with the Saturn games with the RAM cartridge. You know, just if they'd have just done that and released it really cheap, it makes you wonder whether it would have done a lot better. Because I'm sure, looking at this, there are not that many more polygons than there are in Virtua Racing on the Saturn. Oh, there's a Mega Drive. Yeah, there's not that many compared to the Saturn version either. But that's another story, which I've waffled about. I'm sort of paying attention to the game. It's quite weird, certain characters I can do really well against. I forget his name, Cage, the ninja. I always have trouble with him. But Lau is a bit different, he's a bit quicker than a lot of others, but he doesn't do all the crazy jumps. I'm getting it handed to me. Ah! There is a version of Virtua Fighter 2 on the Mega Drive, which I've also got, which is quite different than what people expected, because if you look on the cover, and I mentioned this on the room tour video, it's got a very polygonal character on the front with all the edges emphasised, although the game itself is quite odd. It's 2D. It's got like a perspective parallax floor, but all the characters are animated in this really weird, almost slightly jerky style. And I know this is motion captured, but it's not really got the... I wouldn't say it's not got the fluidity of Street Fighter. It's just a bit different. And what they've tried to do is keep the... It might have even been AM2 that did the Mega Drive version. Is keep the play style of Virtua Fighter 2, but with the visual style of sort of Street Fighter type game, which is really weird. But all the moves are there, and it plays exactly the same. The only problem is, it has like a half-second delay on it, which means if you're used to playing this or the Virtua Fighter 2 on the Saturn, you've got to relearn everything. And against the AI character, it's so hard. Right, I think I'll leave it there. I think it's clear I'm not going to be allowing, certainly not while I'm waffling on. So, thanks for watching. I'll continue to do a few more 32X games soon. So thanks for watching.